So I'm in Sweden. I don't think that means for me what that would mean for most people. I can't really put into words what it means for me, but it's actually been better here than I was anticipating it being before I came. Like, if I had known it was going to be this cool to be here so far, I probably would have been more excited than I was. I didn't turn the camera on tonight. It's daytime, but it's not. It's nighttime. But I didn't turn the camera on with a plan. I just had to record something because whatever you guys think this means for me, I feel like some of you will kind of get it, but I don't even really get it. I don't know. This has been so incredible, and I'm almost going to cry, which seems like the cheesiest thing ever. But so the light thing, right? Like, it's kind of 10 o'clock right now, and the sun is still very clearly up. The reason I'm talking about that is that it's kind of a good allegory for the rest of my experience so far, which has been that, like, I know on a logical level that that's how it is, right? I know, I've heard the science, I've seen the diagrams, it's common knowledge. It's not until I actually experienced it that it felt like it was real, and it still doesn't really feel like it's real, but that's the same for everything else that I've had here. Every conversation, every book I see in Swedish, sign I see in Swedish, people speaking to Swedish to each other in the streets, people speaking to me in Swedish in the street, everything that I've had, I'm like, it's real. It's a real thing. And I've never even known that. Everything that I've experienced so far is so much more Swedish than I anticipated it to be. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous. I came to Sweden. If anything should not feel like it's surprising that it's Swedish, it's the country of Sweden, right? But, like, from the second I got off at the airport, I was like, it looks exactly like Sweden does in my mind. The people themselves, the trains, the cars, the little lakes and rivers everywhere, bridges to cross those lakes and rivers, just everything that I experience has been like, oh, that's what I would imagine it to be like in Sweden. And it's like, well, I am in Sweden, but what I'm saying is that it lined up with my imagination so much more than I really thought possible. The other thing is the amount. I mean, I've just stopped even counting the amount of conversations I've had where the quality or the fact that I speak Swedish or whatever has just not been commented on because I don't think it necessarily occurred to the person that I wasn't Swedish. Now, I'm not saying that I sound completely Swedish 100% of the time and I can fool natives into thinking I'm Swedish all the time. I'm not saying that, but I have had numerous, like literally 12, 13, 14 conversations now where the person has not switched to English, they've not asked where I was from, they've not slowed down their speech or anything like that. What I'm getting at is that this is everything I wanted from the very beginning, 7 years ago. It's actually like, it doesn't sound as long when I say 7 years ago as I really feel like it was when I remember when I first started learning Swedish. And this idea that I would one day just be able to talk to Swedish people as if I was Swedish was so far off, and I didn't actually think it would happen, but I was sort of entertaining this fantasy and this kind of a joke. I've said before that I learned Swedish as a joke in the beginning, and it really was. I didn't actually think I would keep going with it, and even when I started getting good, well, better, I still remember listening to natives sometimes and just being like, I literally have no idea what you're saying. Whereas now, very occasionally, like someone says something that I'm like, didn't quite get that, but most of the time, I'm just taking in the conversation, and it's noteworthy in its non-noteworthiness, like in how easily I now speak to Swedes, and they either think I'm Swedish or don't really care where I'm from, and it's just a normal conversation for them and for me is noteworthy for me, because now I'm like, this is what I wanted. I've made it. Now, I'm not saying my Swedish can't get better, but like, I've made it far beyond where I originally wanted to be, and I never actually thought I would come here. And if I'm being completely honest, I didn't know that it was real. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's like the sun thing. You can be told time and time again, far north, sun doesn't set in summer, but I've never experienced it, and it doesn't feel like you imagine it would feel. And so I knew that Sweden was a place. I was learning Swedish, right? But I didn't think it was real, right? When I come here and I see it, it's like I hear them. They pass me in the street, and I'm like, there they are. They're speaking Swedish. That's what they do. And it's very hard to describe to you guys how mind-blowing that is for me. Not every single time it happens, because we're talking literally hundreds of times. In 4 days, obviously, I've heard lots of conversations in Swedish, but it's like every time I just hear something, I'm like, it's Swedish. They're here in their home. And I'm here too. And I'm very glad. And I can barely believe that when I get back from where I'm going next, I'll make a video from that place too, but when I get back from there, I've got another 11 or 12 days here, and who knows what's going to happen. And I love this place, and it's not some förtjusning. It's not just infatuation. I mean, it kind of is at the moment. I love this place not just because of the language and stuff. I just love it because of what it represents to me, and I don't know. It's just, I hope you guys get it. Learn your language, guys. It's worth it. It's fun. Hej då.